Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Mermaid Tears. Thank you for joining me for part 2 of exploring sea glass colors. If you missed the video from 2 weeks ago, I was talking about the positive and negatives of the different coloring charts that you can find available online, and they all just depend on what your purpose is for dividing your sea glass and whether it's just for storing it, for displaying it, or for selling it. So the charts all have their positive and negatives depending on what your use for that sea glass is. So if I was looking at just doing broad categories of my sea glass, then I would do them according to the groupings of a chart similar to this one, where I'd have all of my greens and my purples and my lavenders just in the bigger groups. The problem with charts like this one here is that it doesn't take into account things such as the gray or things such as the black. And then, of course, how do I know that my color is necessarily red, dark blue, yellow, white? And so I'm going to show you now how you can break it down a little bit further if you're having a hard time figuring out just what color your sea glass is, because like so many things, the first glance of sea glass can be deceiving. So in my hand, I have a collection of what is very obviously different shades of green, and some of them look very similar to other colors. If you look at them very closely, they are in fact slightly different shades of green. One of the ways that you can help determine the different shades is by laying your sea glass out on clear white paper. So taking my colors with them out on the clear white paper, I can clearly go through and see which colors match and which ones don't. So these ones here look very similar, and it may be that one is more aged than the other, or it may in fact be that they are two different colors. If I was sorting it meticulously, I would probably say that they are in fact two different colors, as well as all of my greens. Some of them look very similar to each other, and some of them might just be in different processes of the aging category, but it's hard to say. A lot of people are probably looking at these two pieces thinking that they are too fresh and should go back into the water. These are in fact older pieces of glass, and I know because I dug them out of all of this slush myself, but the area where I found them is quite a rocky area, so they don't actually have as much of an ability to turn in the waves, so they tend to get stuck and often keep their sharper edges. So once I've had them laid out, it might look like it's really easy from here to determine the color of the glass. But as you can see, this one here doesn't necessarily look red. How do I know which blue this is? So the next thing that you want to do is actually take a light to them. And I find that the light that works best is, in fact, the cell phone light on the back of your phone. So what you do is you just take your cell phone light, or you can use a different flashlight, and you're going to take your piece of glass and you're going to just put it over top. So as you can see, when I put this one here over top of my flashlight, it does become a very vibrant red. The reason that I didn't classify this one as black is because I can see some of the red edges before I even put it on my flashlight. Then I'll take one such as this one here, which is a very obviously black piece, and I put it on and I can see that it is a deep olive piece. Some people might choose to put it as a deeper olive piece, and some people might not, depending on what is showing. This one here I keep with my black pieces just because it has less of that green edge showing than, say, this one here, which is even, oh, you can't really see that one because of my phone. This one here has a little bit more of the green showing. The thing about black sea glass is that it is not, in fact, black. All black sea glass started as another color originally, and that may have been your greens, your ambers, or actually sometimes your little pieces of, I don't know if you can see that one, deep purple. This one here, I don't know if you can see it how easily, but it's a deeper purple color. And those are often the ones that you find that are black. Now, if I want to break them down into even further categories, this is where I would take out my Carter Sea Glass chart. So this is just the little photocopy of it. Again, you can order it. I highly recommend that you order it, and it's made by Meg. She comes it comes with a beautiful letter, and you can get them framed or not framed, laminated, not laminated. I just got the big poster one. And what I often do if I'm really curious about the color of my sea glass is I will lay the chart out on the floor, and I actually sit there moving my piece of glass around until I find the closest match. So for example, the lavender, this would be the closest match, and then my plum would be either this one or this would be the violet. My son always says this one's violet. I like to call it plum, but it's totally up to you. And this is where it can become a little bit more challenging, because you have your whites and your dusks and your slightly lighter ones. So this one here, while I normally have it in a purple category, it falls right here in this category here. But when I'm sorting my sea glass, I often find that it ends up in my white, and then I have to go through and pull it out from my white category. You want to make sure that your colors are a true color and not just a partial color. And by that I mean that some of them are coated on top. So this is a white glass, but it has a pink paint on top. And so how would I categorize that one? For me, because it's pink, I would still put it in the pink. But then, of course, you come across ones such as this, which is, in fact, a white piece, but it has been rusted, and so it is now actually a rust color sea glass just from what it was around. And you can find the same thing with the green. A lot of times it will get the green seaweed look on it, or a little bit of a yellow tint to it, but they would in fact all still fall into that kind of common category area. You can try and bleach them. I personally like the look of them like this. Bleaching does help to sparkle the color up a little bit, but it's all personal preference and personal choice. I hope that you didn't find that video too quick. I just wanted to show you a little bit on how you can tell what color your piece of sea glass is, and then compare it to the charts that we talked about last week for whatever works for you. So part 3 of the color talk will be also hopefully a quicker one, and that'll of course be in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the history of sea glass colors. I hope that you enjoyed this week's issue of Mermaid Tears. I welcome your comments, questions, and feedback, both on this site, and of course I hope you visit my website at www.mermaidtears.ca. Have yourself an absolutely fabulous day.